Hi, I'm John McGuire, founder and director of the Kinesiology Institute. Thank you for tuning into this video. And be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell to be notified when we post new content. And go to kinesiologyinstitute.com to learn more about applied kinesiology. Now I'd like to demonstrate the ear unrolling technique. It's great for stiff necks. So Jennifer, do you have any range of motion difficulty when you turn your head to right or left?
A little on my right side.
Okay.
I just don't have quite as far of range.
Let's see how far you can go right now. Okay, note that, and let's test this. So head straight ahead. I want to make sure I have a switched on muscle, so I'm going to push and you meet my pressure. Okay, good. So I'm just pushing with about 4 to 6 pounds of pressure, and that was solid, right? Mm-hmm. So now turn your head to the right, and hold right there, and let's see what happens. Whoa. Hold again. Do you notice there's like nothing? Mm-hmm. Now, muscle testing is often then an indicator of where there's stress. So we have a strong muscle, we have her do something and see, does the body find that that's stressful? So on a scale of 1 to 10, where you would say 10 would be the stiffest your neck has ever been, 1 is totally lacking any tension, what would you say it is? You go to the right.
It's not much. I would say like a 4 tops, probably like a 3 or 4. It's not much, but it's definitely, I have more range of motion here. Okay, good. So now we're going to do the technique and see if we find there's a difference. I'm going to have her turn to the right where it's stiff, and then I'm going to do the ear unrolling technique about 3 times, and then we will see the result. So do you feel the tension as you're turning to the right now? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see what happens. So what I do is I take the rolled over part of her ear and I just kind of unroll it. And you can do this on your own even while you're watching this to see if you have a stiff side. You generally can turn to the stiff side. And what I do is I unroll and pull it away from the opening, just working my way down. And what this does is it affects nerves that are in the ear that are going down through the neck. And let's just see if you get any better range of motion as you keep turning to the right. See if it'll go any further. So just notice now, this is the 3rd time. Going all the way down to the bottom. So now what I'd like you to do is turn your head to the right again, and we're going to test, but see how it feels. Is there better range of motion? Yeah, it feels good.
Okay, great. So turn your head to the right, and let's see if it's strong now. And hold. Great. And you notice you got better range of motion, too. Mm-hmm. And now the fact that it tests strong is it shows that it's now we release that stress. So after doing the neck unrolling technique, you said it was a 4 before the procedure. Mm-hmm. What would you say it is now?
Oh, gosh, a 1, if even. I mean, it's, the little bit of tension I had is gone.
Oh, great. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Now, it's always good to ask a number before and after so you can see the progress. In some cases, they may have a 9 and you got it down to a 6. So if they say, well, it's still stiff, but you made, a significant amount of progress. But in your case, it pretty much just cleared it right up.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So anytime you notice a stiff neck coming on, just do that.
I will.
And that way you can often get rid of it like that.
Great.
So anytime you're feeling like, oh, I got a stiff neck, like say you're turning it wouldn't be maybe, unless you're in England, turning this way to look out the rear view mirror, but if you ever turn your head to one side and it's too stressed or too tight, you can then do the ear unrolling technique.
Very cool.
Now the good thing is, folks, you can do it on both sides. You don't have to turn. And you can do it generally 3 times, anytime not only that you have a stiff neck, but it also is great for an energizer. So anytime you're feeling low energy, do that, and you often get a boost from it.
Very cool.
Yeah. The reason for that is the ears act as antennae for the acupuncture meridian system. So in a way, it's like taking the antenna and pulling it up. Like in the old days, we used to have antennas on cell phones, or remember transistor radios for you that go back that far, or even the rabbit ear TVs I remember from when I was a kid. So this is actually a way of boosting energy or chi to go into your body by doing this technique. So you've got another benefit.
Awesome.
Here's a third benefit. This is for the fact you can hear better and listen better and retain auditory information better after doing the ear unrolling technique. There's a whole system called educational kinesiology, also known as brain gym, that calls this the thinking caps. And they work on helping particularly children with learning problems, where when they do the ear unrolling technique, particularly in schools, the teachers notice they can focus better and listen better. So you get another benefit from doing the ear unrolling technique with that. So again, it helps range of motion for the neck, it helps boost your energy, and it also helps you listen clearer and retain your auditory information better. So use the ear unrolling technique on a regular basis, as well as for you that are working with clients, you can use it on them, particularly if you're doing massage and you get to the ear. It's a great thing to do with clients, just as a general procedure, but particularly on those that have stiff necks. Jennifer, do you have any places right now in your body, any muscles that have any aches or pains?
Yes. Just the mid-back is really tight.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So would it be like, what, mid-scapular?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's,
right in this area?
I woke up with it yesterday. It's just a little more tight than usual, causing me a little pain.
Okay. Now what we can do is we can use the muscle testing to locate where energy's blocked.
Okay.
See, where energy's blocked is a stressor that the body, when I touch that area, it will create a weakness in a strong indicator muscle, which I'll test right now. You can use the arm straight out to the side, and the wrist fairly relaxed here. Just meet my pressure as I push down. Okay, ready and hold. And I push with about 6 to 8 pounds of pressure, gradually pushing. Now I'm going to point right in at the area where you're having stress. Is it right around in here on this side?
A little bit closer to the spine, but yeah.
Right there?
Yep.
Okay, got it. So now I hold again as I push, and it says, oh, we've got energy blockage there. Now I'll go over on the right side. Is that about where it is?
A little bit more. You're on the spine, a little more to the right. There you go.
Okay, got it. And then hold, and there. That's also switching off. So I'm looking for, when we do muscle testing, energy blockage, then we do a procedure, and then we see, did we unblock the energy where the muscle will then test strong. Now on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say that stiffness is?
Like a 7.
It's a 7. Kind of annoying, huh? Okay.
Yeah, there's a definite tension.
Okay. Now there's 2 procedures that we can do that help release tight muscles. Very simple massage procedures. So I'm going to demonstrate those now on you and see if we get a result. We'll start with the feathering technique. So it's done like this. Now with the feathering technique, what you're doing is you're briskly brushing over the muscle the way the muscles go. So right now I'm working on the erector spinae, also known as the sacrospinalis, going up and down here. And then the rhomboids go like this. So I can see in this fashion, I can go like this. And then I can go like this. And let's see if either of those, that side is any improved. So did that first technique have any result? You were at a 7 before.
Yeah.
Where are you at now?
It definitely felt really good while you were doing it. If I had to really hone in, it's improved a little bit, maybe like a 5 or a 6 now.
Okay, so it's knocked off a little bit of the edge, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now sometimes one technique will work better than another. We're going to now present the spindle cell technique and see how you do with that. And sometimes just one technique will do the job. I'll give you a case in point. I was doing a triathlon in Malibu many years ago, and after I got off the bike, my calves were cramping so bad I couldn't move. And I got down there and did that same technique, just the feathering technique, right over my gastrocnemius, the calves. And after about the same amount of time, 10, 20 seconds, I stood back up and I go, oh wow, they're totally free of pain, no cramping. I ran the entire rest of the race and it didn't bother me at all. So sometimes you get magic from, like for Charlie horses, this is great. Or anytime, say, for you that are working as a massage therapist, if a client gets a cramp, like in a certain part of the body, first thing you want to do is feather it. And often that does the job. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is where we get in the belly of the muscle and we push the spindle cells together by pushing the thumbs together, could be fingers like this. And what it's doing is it's telling these proprioceptive nerve cells that, oh, we're too close together, so it sends a signal from the brain to that area and says, relax, let go. So it's resetting the nervous system to send a different message from the brain to how those muscles should be, not so tight.
Okay.
So let's give that a go. Now, one thing that's interesting is you can spindle cell one direction and then spindle cell going the opposite direction, in other words, pulling apart. And a strong muscle will go weak when you're going in the wrong direction. So in the case of a weak muscle, you actually pull it apart. So let's just see here. We've got a strong indicator muscle. So I'm going to get right now. Is this the area where it's tight? Okay, so rhomboids go like this. So I'm gonna just go like this and see if your body likes it. Hey, that's good. If I do the opposite direction, let's see if it doesn't like it. Oh, wow. See, so that's telling me I was rubbing you the wrong way. See, it likes it like that, right? Okay, so let me do it the way it shows correct. Now, I could have just gone to this way, but I wanted to show you there's another way of deciding when you're going to do a technique, be it any massage technique. If you go one way and then the other way, a strong muscle will go weak when you're literally rubbing them the wrong way. So see what I'm doing is I'm getting in the belly of the rhomboids here and I'm going in this direction. Okay? Now I can also do this on the sacrospinalis in case that's tightening up. Right down in here. Is this the area? Pretty much.
Really good.
It feels really good. Okay, great. Okay, so now I'll do this right side. So again, the rhomboids are going like this. So I'm going to get in like this. I'll just grab it here so I get a better angle. And how's that feel?
Really good.
Really good.
I think we're getting to the problem.
Okay, so this might be the one that she needed the most, but I wanted to show both. And let's see where we go here. So I'm telling these rhomboids, it's deep there. I'm getting in the belly of the muscle and I'm pushing together. So you can do it with thumb and finger. If I had two thumbs, if she was lying on a massage table, I'd be going like that, but I can't get leverage, so I have to support her in the front standing. And then she's got her sacrospinalis. I can do that as well. Now this is particularly good. When you ever see someone you're working on your massage table and they've got a ridged up muscle here, it's sometimes on one side it'll feel like a big mountain. Sometimes the other side will be flaccid. So what I'll do is I'll get on the side that's all ridged up and I tweak in to relax or weaken. And then on the flaccid side, I would lengthen or pull apart. But in your case, you were tight on both sides. But it does feel like it's a little more built up on this side. So I'm going to go down a little lower even, right in this muscle that looks like it's just too tight. Okay, so I just do that a little bit of time, and then I also like to finish with another feathering. So it's kind of like feather, spindle cell, feather. Okay, let's see. Okay, turn around now and let us know how that feels.
Oh.
What number would you be at now? You were at a 7 before.
It's a lot better. Gosh, maybe it's like a 2 or 3 now?
2 or 3, huh?
Yeah. I want you to keep doing that.
Okay.
No, it feels a lot better.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see how it muscle tests.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is put my fingers right where we were before, right? Okay, and see what happens. Wow, it's really strong.
Yeah, much better.
And that gives you confirmation that you made a correction. So sometimes even if the person says, well, I feel a little bit better, it might be that what you did set in motion the things that are going to have them continually feel better after the session. But in your case, you got an immediate result, right?
Definitely felt good, yes.
Yeah. And so it tells you these little specific techniques can get a fast result without having to, okay, we got to do a full massage here, though certainly more effleurage could be helpful. But you saw that just feathering, doing a little spindle cell, made a dramatic shift in just a matter of seconds. Great.
Great.
So if you have a client that you're working with in massage, you know you've got a great technique for anywhere they're having additional cramping or spasming, is you can do the feathering technique, going the way the fibers run, brushing quickly over the muscle, like I mentioned, the gastrocnemius, the sacrospinalis. I've done it on hamstrings, quadriceps. Those are really good muscles to do. I've also done it deltoids, wherever they're having a cramp or spasm. And then what you can also do is add the spindle cell technique. On tight muscles, you go in the belly of the muscle, the way the fibers run, and you push together, either with two thumbs, thumb and fingers, pushing together. It's like push, release, push, release, push, release, push, release. And often that, as in the case of Jennifer, makes a dramatic difference in just a matter of seconds. Sometimes when people are undergoing emotional stress, it can actually take its toll on the physical body, create aches, pains, range of motion difficulties, or other health issues. So what we're going to do is check and see if you have any areas of your body first that are showing a switched off response when I touch them, showing energy blockage. And then I'm going to show you how you can determine whether emotional stress is a factor in that energy blockage. So do you have any areas where you're feeling some stress in your body, joints, muscles?
This shoulder has a tendency to lock up sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So you mean like get a frozen shoulder or what?
Yeah, it just gets tight. I don't have full range of motion.
Okay. Well, let's demonstrate. First, I start with a strong indicator muscle. So arm could be up here, doesn't matter. Any angle is fine, but I start with testing to see that it's strong in the clear, meeting my pressure. Good. Now I'll touch the shoulders, like basically the whole shoulder joint like this. Okay, and hold again. And it switches off. Now again, that means energy blockage is there. To determine whether clearing emotions would be helpful for this, we can have you touch right here. These are called the emotional stress release points, and you touch them with the pads of your fingers. They're actually where the forehead kind of ridges up a little bit, like a little bump. It's called the frontal eminence. Do you feel those bumps there? And they're right over the eye, both sides. We often touch them when we're under stress instinctively, go, oh no. That's kind of the reason that they actually help clear stress. So now I'm going to touch the shoulder again. While she's touching there, see if there's a change. And there is. Did you notice that? Take your hands away from the forehead and hold again. Good. Now, have you been experiencing any stress lately?
The last week has actually been stressful, yes.
Okay. Now, what I'm going to show is how you can clear that stress, but you don't really even need to talk about it. If you wanted to, you could, but just so you that are learning this technique, note that when the person has any emotional stress going on and you find out, oh, it's related to could be low back, shoulder, anywhere in their body, could be stomach issues, and they touch here. You touch the stomach, it goes weak. They touch here, you're touching their stomach, it goes strong. Now, just to note, they can touch the body as well. So just to demonstrate that, you touch the shoulder and where it's sore, okay? And then I can touch here as well. So it doesn't matter who's touching the area. As long as one person touches the area, it goes weak, and the other person touches the forehead. In this case, that means emotional stress. So if you find this is the case, you can do this little simple procedure, and they'll often have an energy flow that occurs breaking through that blockage, because note, the emotional issues are often major factors on physiological and musculoskeletal aches and pains. So let's show how to do the correction. So what would you say your shoulder tension is right now on a scale of 1 to 10?
About a 7.
It's about a 7, huh? Okay, let's also have you move the shoulder around a little bit and see in range of motion how it feels. Okay, and then we're going to note that after the correction. Now, one thing that my teacher, George Goodhart, always used to say is measure, measure, measure. So one of the ways we measure it is through a muscle test. And we said, yep, it shows energy blockage. Another way we had her measure it is on the scale of 1 to 10. Another way of measuring it is saying, okay, how's the range of motion now? So you do lots of measurements, and then when you do a procedure, you then see, how is it now? Is the number lower? Is the muscle strong? Is the range of motion improved? So this is a good little principle for you to remember when you're working with clients. So now what I'm doing is I'm touching very lightly, about the weight of a nickel is what we say, on these points on the forehead, and I'm slightly tugging up. So about as light as I can touch. If you like, you can close your eyes, though open is fine too. Taking slow, deep breaths, I want you to simply notice what's been going on with you that's you're finding stressful. So just notice what you saw, if there's any images there, anything you heard, and just simply witness them like you're noticing them from a relaxed place, just observing it like it's out in front of you. Notice what emotions you have and breathe deeply and just let them be there, observing what emotions are there. Notice any thoughts that you tell yourself about this situation and just relax and observe those. Again, as you breathe deeply, relaxing, notice any body sensations. Maybe tension in that shoulder or jaw, stomach, anywhere in your body. Just notice if there's any holding related to this emotional situation that you're feeling, and breathe in and just observe that. That's good. And then just let that go. And then continue to relax, breathe deeply, and just observe whatever's around, any other aspects about that emotional stress you've been going through. Just observing it or witnessing it. And then let me know when you feel like you've covered all the aspects, including any body sensations.
Okay.
Good. All right, let's see if there's any shift. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test while I'm touching the shoulder and see if it's now strong. Wow, and it is. Okay, let's have you move it around a little bit and see if there's any shift in the actual range of motion.
Yeah, it does.
And there is. How about that? And I never touched the shoulder. I was touching the emotional stress release points. But again, it indicated there was emotional stress related to that. And if that didn't switch it on when you were weak, if that didn't switch it on, I wouldn't have done this technique. But how about, let's ask, what you were at a 7, you said before, in stress? What would you say you are now?
I mean, I feel a lot better. That helped really clear it. So I'd say there's no stress right now.
Really?
Yeah.
And improved range of motion, no stress. Well, we didn't directly go after the emotional issue you were going for to try and release that, because you can use this specifically on emotional issues. So if a client comes in, or you yourself are feeling an emotional issue, you can do this technique on them or yourself. But how about in terms of the emotional issue?
Right now, presently, I'm feeling really calm and peaceful.
And how were you before we did the technique?
I got up to a 7. So
even just thinking about it,
yeah. So no, just kind of processing it, going into just the awareness and observing it. Big shift.
Great. And let me describe that so you understand the dynamics of this. The mechanism is that when you're under emotional stress, you're actually blocking energy and resisting it. Like the situation, you didn't really need to even tell me what it was, so that's another benefit. The client doesn't have to talk about it, reveal it. If they want to, they can. But in your case, when you thought about that, just the thought of it blocks energy. And so what we're doing is when you touch these points, physiologically, you're stimulating more blood flow to the emotional centers in the brain and also to the frontal lobe of the brain, called the prefrontal cortex. Now, this is the new association area of the brain, and the back of the brain in the occiput is where you store the old tapes about, oh, this is a bad situation. Well, when you touch here, it brings it to a new association area. And while you're breathing deeply, relaxing, and touching here, it allows you to, in a sense, reframe it by watching it or witnessing it. And you said by being aware of it, awareness itself can be a cure when you're in a relaxed state. So it surrounds the situation with relaxation, in that when you're noticing what was said, but you're observing it from an observer mind rather than a reactive mind. That allows you to just, oh, let me just see it. There's a saying also that whatever you can feel, you can heal. And in this case, you feel the emotion, you can actually heal it by touching hair and observing it and just allowing the emotion to be there. Normally what we do is we resist our emotions, like we don't welcome. What would be the emotion you'd say was related to your stress?
Maybe frustration. That's the first thing that comes
Okay,
to
frustration. Mind. Okay. So when we think of frustration, our energy gets blocked. But now, when you observe frustration from your witnessing, observing pure awareness mind, and you allow the frustration to be there and you accept it, it actually allows the energy to flow and you don't block it anymore. You say, okay, well, I'm going to allow myself to feel the frustration. Sometimes it's sadness, sometimes it's anger. But when you touch these points and you allow the emotion to be there and observe it, rather than react to it, say, oh, I can't stand that, I don't like it. Just say, okay, well, there's frustration. It allows the energy to flow, shift it into another part of your brain, allows energy to flow through your body and release the stress. You also were observing where you felt stress in your body related to that. And again, the awareness and the observation allows the energy to flow, you release it, and then that's why this works. And you got a good result, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So folks, use this technique whenever particularly you're working with a client that might even come in and saying, yeah, I've been stressed by things. And let's say they have low back as a common area. In fact, there's a whole book on this very subject by a medical doctor named John Sarno, The Mind-Body Prescription. And he says, as a orthopedic surgeon, I believe his background, he found that many people with back pain, and they didn't even respond to surgery, it was the fact they had repressed emotions. And basically his approach was to have the person be aware, not even do this technique that we're showing you that goes even a lot further, but he said, we just want you to be aware that your back pain is related to your repressed anger, he said, that was often towards their boss. It was like people in middle management and they, God, I can't stand my boss. And anger, when you hold back, gives you back pain. So anger is a popular emotion that people get physical problems and challenges with. So, you know, again, here you're just noticing the emotion. You're noticing what you saw, what you heard, and what you told yourself, as well as where you're feeling stress in the body as you touch these points. So you can do this yourself at home. Whenever you notice an ache or pain come about, that you've been stressed about something and then a pain appears, that's an obvious sign that, ooh, the emotions is causing that. And then you can just touch there, breathe. And if you like, you can even touch the area if you want with your other hand. However, it's not absolutely necessary. But the fact is, while you're doing this, breathing and going through this simple procedure that we're teaching you now, you can often eliminate major stress and energy blockage. Great, so you got a good result.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to do accurate muscle testing. First thing you want to do is explain to the person, now what I'm going to do is we're going to monitor energy flow through your muscles to see if energy is flowing or blocked. So you might even think of this as a muscle monitoring or even energy monitoring. I'm going to bring your arm into a certain position and then I'm going to push down like this. Now, do you have any pain or problems in your shoulder right now that I shouldn't be testing this? Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put gradual increasing pressure and you're going to meet my pressure. So it's not a strength test, like to see who's like arm wrestling to see who's stronger. It's just a light, relaxed hold. So have your whole body relaxed and meet my pressure as I push down, okay? Great. Now, I push for about 2 seconds for about, say, 2 kilos or about 4 to 6 pounds. And I push very gradually sinking in. So it's not a quick jerk. It's not a hard, heavy pressure. It's just a light, relaxed sinking in. And I see, can she meet my pressure? Ready and hold? Yes. Or is there a little give? So it goes down a little bit, but you're meeting my pressure. Now, the next thing is I want to make sure I'm getting an accurate response, because sometimes people will be strong no matter what, and meaning that you might do something that would normally show a switched off muscle, but they aren't even showing switched off muscles. A couple ways you can do that. One is the muscle we're testing right here is the anterior deltoid. So I can go in the belly of the muscle and tweak it in 2 or 3 times and hold again as I push. Wow, good. Do you see how that switched it off? Now, I test again. It usually only switches off 1 time, and now it's back to strong. So the muscle temporarily, after I tweak in, it weakens it, it goes weak, and it goes back to strong. However, you could spindle cell lengthen to strengthen, and it would strengthen as well. But in this case, 1 time, tweaking in like this, couple times, goes weak, pulling it out, goes strong, okay? So again, what I do is I tell the person first, it's not a strength test, you're just meeting my pressure, and it's a light, gradual increasing pressure, and then I do something to switch it off. Now, another way I can switch it off is with a magnet. I often use the magnet here that has a green dot on it. I label this magnet because one side is a north pole that's a green dot, and the other side will be the south pole. When you put the green side of this magnet that I labeled, you don't have to have, you can put an N on yours if you want. You find these at a lot of the stores, like a hardware store, like a Home Depot. You can also find them at a smaller stack of magnets. You'll find it places like Staples or office supply stores, and places where you could put them on your refrigerator, whole things. One side's north, one side's south. So in this case, if I put the north pole on the muscle, hold again as I push, see how it goes weak? And then hold again. See, south side strong, north side weak. So again, you want to be able to know that your muscle is giving you accurate information. Now, sometimes a person will not switch off when you put the north side of the magnet on, or you tweak in the belly of the muscle the way it runs. And that means they are overpowering, which I often call their mentally overriding. In other words, I'm going to be strong no matter what. And in those rare cases when that happens, here's what you want to do. First, I say to the person, okay, I want you to just totally relax. Make sure they're not first bending the elbow, because that can cause a problem too. Or they may have their fist clenched up and you feel like this is like an iron rod where their whole body, they might be gritting their teeth, curling their toes, and they're everywhere tight. So I make sure they're totally relaxed, the hand relaxed, the elbow straight, and then I'll say, okay, take a few deep breaths and just allow your body to be testable. And then again, I'll try it again. And if they're still weak, here's what I do. As I say, let your arm be like an empty shirt sleeve, just relaxed. Now, do you know what it feels like to pump like a bike tire or a well? If you ever did one of those old, farm, they have a well. You're from Minnesota, right? You've probably seen those, like you're pumping the water like they did many, many years ago. So have your arm move a little bit, but have some resistance in it, okay? So yeah, there you go. So just like it's a well, so it's not fully weak, and now a little more resistance in it. So see how it moves a little less, and now a little more resistance. Okay, just an ounce more, and now she's just a little bit more until you're meeting my pressure. Now what I'm doing is, if the person was holding with like 60 pounds of pressure and you're pushing with 6, you're getting them to go to 0 to about 1 to 2 to 4 to 6. So I'm having them understand it's not a strength test. You're going from very little pressure to just enough to meet my pressure. Another thing I mentioned to the person, it's not bad if the arm lets go. In fact, it's giving us accurate information when I do certain things that it should let go. So sometimes a person thinks this is a test and I got to battle it out. In fact, the very first time I was muscle tested, I was one of those people, they couldn't find a weak muscle. I was 20-something, and I said, I'm a strong, macho guy, and there's no weak muscles on my body. And they were pushing and pushing, and no one could find a weak muscle, because I was thought it was a strength test. So in essence, it's an energy assessment to see is energy flowing or energy blocked. And now we'll show you some ways that we can now use the muscle to determine where energy is blocked. This is actually a way that we teach in my course, the Applied Kinesiology Fundamentals, to find out which of the acupuncture meridians has a deficiency or blocked energy. So let's have your arm again meeting my pressure. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch specific points on the head and see if we can find where energy is blocked. Now these are each related to a set of acupuncture meridians. Now notice there, I don't touch, she's strong. I touch back here, she goes weak. This specific point in the back of the head is related to the spleen and stomach meridian. So that one was good. That was the metal element. These are things we teach in the course. That was water. Now this is central and this is governing. So when I touch back here, it goes weak. That's a way to assess where energy is blocked in her body. It's a great quick shortcut. So now I can ask the body, spleen meridian? It says yes. Stomach meridian? No. So this, which we teach in the course, shows me which meridian is deficient in her, happens to be spleen. Okay? Now, in our advanced courses, we show you how to go further in assessing all of the muscles associated with the spleen meridian, because every meridian has a muscle or group of muscles that it's associated with, which can relate to musculoskeletal imbalances and problems, not only with aches and pains, but range of motion and performance. We do these procedures with many world-class Olympic and professional athletes who get phenomenal results. In fact, we've had many of my students that have worked with people who have actually set world records or won Olympic gold medals after they tune them up for a race. I had some people who have set world records in Ironman, an American record in the Ironman,
very cool,
by tuning them up before a race. So it's not just to relieve aches and pains, it's great for performance. In fact, one of my students worked with one of the top tennis players who, after he started working with her, she completed her Grand Slam in winning all the 4 major events. And I watched the event at the end when they were giving her her cup for winning the French Open, and she said, "And I'd like to thank my student's name for taking such great care of my body." And he was doing these procedures with her. So it's great for sports. So now we know that your spleen meridian has some deficiency. So what I can do, just to keep it simple, we do more advanced work in the other courses, I can find a spot here on the body that's related to the spleen meridian. Now, is this tender at all right here?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just massage this spot, and there's a spot in the back too that I can work. In fact, let me work these 2 spots in the back.
Ooh, the one on the back is.
Yeah, and the one in the back is. Okay, so turn around so they can see that. So I'm just massaging. These are points related to the spleen meridian, front and back. And I do it for about 30 seconds or so, up to a minute. Breathing deeply. Now, are they getting any better? Mm-hmm. Okay, and you said in the back, was it right or left?
Right.
Okay, and you can feel that in there, so I'm going to get it a little more. And that happens to be between the 7th and 8th ribs where I'm working on her right now. On the thoracics, right off the 7th and 8th thoracic in the rib space. Again, we teach all this procedure and more in the Applied Kinesiology Fundamentals. Okay. Let's see what we got now. And I touch this spot again, and ready and hold, and it's strong.
Better.
So any shift that you noticed after we did that little piece?
I feel good.
Feel good?
Yeah.
Feel better?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So when you're working with even massage clients, we show you simple little techniques you can incorporate into a session, or actually energy assessments that you can even go further with. We just showed you one little correction point, but there's many that can then facilitate energy flow, create balance in the body, greater performance, relief of pain, stress, and improved range of motion. So all of that is simple and easy to do when you go further into learning more adept ways of using these techniques in our advanced courses. But for now, you already have some simple ways of learning how to do accurate muscle testing by having the person meet your pressure, showing them the line of drive that you're going, keeping the elbow straight, your body relaxed and breathing, and then you slowly and gradually press for about 2 seconds for them to meet your pressure, and then do something to see if you're getting accurate results, like tweaking in the belly of the muscle if you're doing the deltoids. If you're doing middle deltoid, then you would go in the middle deltoid and tweak. Again, ready, hold. See, there you go. And lengthen to strengthen and hold. See, so those are ways you can use the arm as a biofeedback indicator of where there's stress in the body. I demonstrated these specific points on the head that we teach in the Applied Kinesiology Fundamentals that you can then assess the meridian flow. But you can use anywhere in the body where they may have stress, find the strong indicator and touch that area, and that will reveal if there's energy blockage there. So there's lots of ways you can use muscle testing, and those are just a few. Now, if you have access to a scale, this is a great way to see how much pressure to put when you're doing muscle testing. I got a scale here that you can see from one of the office supply stores you weigh packages on. So I put my hand on the scale, and just see the weight of my hand already gets about a pound. And then I put gradual increasing pressure on the person to go up to just about 6 pounds, maybe 8 maximum. And the key is, look how the needle moves. Weight of my hand, and then I gradually sink in for about 2 seconds, and then gradually release. So you're not pushing like ready, hold, like that. There's no jerky movement. It's always like this. Okay, ready, meet my pressure. It's often what I'll say. And then I gradually increase my pressure up to about that 6 to 8 pounds, and then I gradually release. So that's a great way to get the feel of muscle testing. If you don't have a scale like this, you might go to the market where they have scales. You might want to put a little plastic bag between your hand and the scale, and then just sink in and watch that needle go up and gradually go down. It gives you a real good sense of the feel of how to do accurate muscle testing. Again, it's just smooth, continuous, gradually increasing pressure, and then you gradually decrease for about 2 seconds. Ready? 1001, 1002, and you can feel if it's a locked response or if it moves a little bit. And the way to think of that is, if you were putting your hand on a wall, then you feel like, yeah, the wall's not moving. But put a hand on a cushion like a chair or a massage table, and when you push, you see it sinks in a little bit. That's the difference between an on and an off response, where the muscle is switched on and locked, or if it's switched off and moves. So give them the key to where you're pushing. Say ready, hold, or ready, meet my pressure, and then gradually push in and feel their response. And then you can determine whether it's switched on or switched off. Okay?